Welcome everybody to today's awesome episode of the One Lap to Go show. Uh, if you haven't noticed, we are down a co-host. So joining to me, the only person joining me tonight is Miss Heather. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good there, Bobbit.
Good,
Mine's a little
good.
rambunctious.
Uh, but yeah, Ronnie will be here next week. She's currently enjoying spring break. So, Ronnie, if you're listening, hey, and we're gonna miss you.
Spitting your shit out.
So let's start off the show tonight with the obvious big news from Auto Club weekend last weekend. Kyle Busch officially at as of streaming today, he's officially at 201 wins.
Already? Wow.
Uh yeah, do you think this is comparable to Richard Petty's record, or do you think that this is totally separate?
I think it's totally separate, simply because of the fact that Richard Petty had more class.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, like everybody, if you go on Twitter, everybody in the NASCAR community is already saying, "Oh, he's better than Richard Petty."
In what world?
We also got to think Petty got all of his wins in the now known Monster Energy Cup,
Right.
so it's really unfair to compare, what Kyle Busch has done to Petty because Busch is in three series. He's in the trucks, Xfinity, and the Monster Energy Cup.
Exactly.
Petty only Petty only ran in the Western Cup, which is now known as Monster Cup, and they had a hell of a lot longer schedule back then too than what they have now.
Exactly. And back in the day, they fucking went from spring all the way through to damn near the end of fall.
Yeah,
Not to mention the fact that back in the day, the cars that they used, they were nowhere near what the cars are today. I mean, they were actually stock cars that they were using. Not this
yeah,
high
they
tech
like
mumbo jumbo that they got out there now.
right. Well, like back then, they literally took a car off the showroom floor and ran it.
Pretty much, yeah. I really don't see how a Bush is better than a Petty. I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I'm a Kyle Busch fan, but he's nowhere near the league that Richard Petty is.
Oh, God, no. He's not even at the fucking. His son, Kyle Petty. He's not even at that level.
No. The only person that I see could have rivaled Richard was Adam, but and as we all know, he's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Earnhardt.
Junior, you mean?
The only one that could rival popularity or even the name itself is Dale Earnhardt with Richard Petty.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one.
Yeah, yeah, because half of Earnhardt Jr.'s fan base was Senior's fan base.
A lot of them, yeah.
If it was not for Dale Earnhardt, NASCAR probably would have died a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, especially like during the '90s when wrestling was big and all that with it as well.
Mm-hmm. Which Vince wanted to tap into that with Bob Holly.
Yes, it did.
Because not many people know. Bob Holly actually did race out at the local racetrack.
How did that go?
Well, as you saw, he became hardcore Bob Holly. So
That says everything.
exactly. And they wanted him to be Thurman, Sparky Plug. It's a Thurman, really? Exactly. Which is
Oh,
funny
that's
that we
a
can
whole
tie
different.
in wrestling and racing with this. The two shows we do.
Right? I mean, like, there is some parallels between the two because they had that custom race car for Randy Orton.
Yep. And they had that ad where Lita was supposedly driving the race car and got out of it and said, "You should see what I do in the ring." Yeah, okay.
To be fair, if there was anybody who could be a NASCAR driver, it would have been Lita.
Honestly, yeah. Um, is that about it you got for Kyle Petty there? Kyle Busch?
Do what?
Is that about it that you got for Busch there?
Yeah, I want to talk about that because that was like the big news, that's currently going on right now.
Right. We can go on to...
I was gonna say, you have an article about Tony Stewart. You want to bring it up?
I certainly do. I have it right here. And actually, our good friend Ronnie, the co-host that's not with us this evening, was the one who found it and shared it with us in our writer's room. With everything that's been going on lately with NASCAR and it's falling off in the ratings and it's falling off in the fandom in general, Tony Stewart actually had what I think was one of the best answers out of everything that could have been. Not going to read the whole article here, I'm just going to read what he said, and that was, they've got to get drivers that have personality. It's great having opportunities to drive cars, but shoot, they're not even old enough to go to a bar and they're trying to make these 18-year-old kids heroes. I'm still a race fan too, and it's hard for me to embrace somebody who's just graduating high school and they're driving a cup car. What have they done to really legitimately earn their opportunity? There's hundreds of thousands of race car drivers across the country that have clawed and scratched their way at Saturday night short tracks and worked on their cars all their life to get where they are. Then you get kids with rich fathers and deep pockets that put them in race cars. All of a sudden, because they're 18 years old, they think they deserve to be in a cup car. I have a hard time with that. I think there are drivers out there with the experience and personality that makes race fans want to follow them. That's what's lacking in NASCAR. And honestly, in my opinion, I agree with that 100%. Because back in the day, when you had Kenny Wallace and there was a rain delay, you knew you were laughing your ass off for at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the entertainment part. When there was a rain delay or there was a red flag delay, they would go right to Kenny Wallace because they knew he would have the entertainment.
Not only that, but like the interviews with Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart were fucking hilarious.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yes, these guys are kids, but they're like dial tones. They have no actual sense of trying to be entertaining and making this sport fun to be around still.
That's because they don't. That's why the NFL succeeds so well, because they have to play college football for 3 years before they
Right.
join the pros.
Well, not only that, but like these kids nowadays are conditioned to like, oh, everything's good and gravy. If they lose a race, They'll fucking go out and punch somebody in the face for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like from example, that Matthew the diabetes or whatever the fuck his name is,
Yeah.
like just went out and punched Eric Amarola in the face during qualifying.
And it's only qualifying. It's like, Jesus Christ.
It's like the fuck, man.
And apparently, Tony Stewart's not the only one, because it says here later on in the article, last season Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a passionate argument for multiple personalities as well. I mean, villains and black hats, and good guys and bad guys, and blue collar and white collar being necessary in NASCAR. And yesterday we argued that Kyle Busch, as the most polarizing driver on the track, I fucking call bullshit on that, is a villainous character that the sport desperately needs.
I mean,
Yeah, she is.
He's part of the reason why I quit watching racing.
Looks like this is bringing up an issue that I legitimately have. You know, in 5 years when Harvick and Busch, well, both Bushes, like some of these older guys start retiring, this sport's going to have an identity issue that I don't think they can fix.
They can't.
Because the announcers can only do but so much.
I mean, just being that person to sit there and talk to the camera and say, yeah, the car really wasn't handling that great today. The pit crew did their job as best as they could, but unfortunately we just didn't have the car today. That's just boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even for somebody who is a car fanatic like myself, hearing that kind of talk all the time throughout every single person is boring.
Yeah, I miss those old Kevin Harvick interviews, especially when he was pissed off.
Oh, absolutely. Wendy lady.
I just think this sport is losing. Like I said, in 5-10 years, this sport's going to lose its passion, and these familiar people that we all know and love. And the only person I've ever seen emotion from was fucking Chase Elliott.
Exactly, and that's because he was pretty much raised in the sport.
Well, not only that, but fucking Hamlin, actually got something out of him.
Right. These older guys, I mean, hell, they don't even have to be that old to retire. Look at Casey Kane.
Yeah.
And he can only do the short track racing because it's a smaller set of laps. But what it comes down to is it's becoming so lackluster, and everybody's so afraid of saying the wrong thing that it's making the sport even more boring. Other than what they're doing with the point system. And having these stages within certain races, it's just like, oh my fucking god.
That whole point system was just a clusterfuck.
It really is. I mean, why did they have to change it? What was so wrong with the older point system? Yes, some of the same guys won a lot, but you know what? That's when you make it more competitive with the cars. You don't change the point system, change the cars.
Yeah, and this is bringing up another issue that was going on. Like qualifying at Fontana last week, nobody completed a lap in segment 3 of qualifying.
Really?
Yeah, nobody made a lap. Like Austin Dillon won the pole with a time of 0.000. It's like nobody gives a fuck. Not even the drivers give a fuck anymore.
Not with this point system.
You know, if you're having a bad day, the way that they got these fucking races now, you know, the first caution could, you know, you could be running like 40th, and then after the caution, you could be like running 5th.
Exactly.
Like, the the passion isn't there anymore.
It's
The
not.
stage racing is killing racing.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you had this now no restrictor plate racing. They're just literally going to limit the motor itself. It's like, so you want to have more motors hand grenaded on the track so there's more red flags. Got it.
Not only that, but there's actual talks. They want to put restrictor plates on 1.5 mile courses.
Why? There's no point to it.
I legit don't know.
I mean, the races take about 2 to 3 hours to begin with these new stages. Sometimes 4 hours because of a giant wreck. You really want to make Martinsville a 6-hour race?
I mean, I love Martinsville because I'm like really close to the track, but still, I couldn't sit through a 6-hour race.
I mean, granted, short track racing is where you get all of the heated arguments because of all the wrecking, but it's still not a 6-hour worthy race.
Yeah, like hell, Bristol is not even worth 6 hours.
Oh no, not at all.
And it's fucking Bristol.
Exactly. The Monster Mile.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
Yeah. But it's just the passion's leaving with the new drivers that are coming in because, again, as Tony Stewart said, rich fathers with deep pockets, or it's somebody who just sat there and went to one of the places like, yeah, I can drive. It's just there's no growing up in the sport anymore because there's not that many short tracks and hometown tracks left anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad to see because, you know, I'm thinking it's going to get to a point to where NASCAR's going to die, and I don't want to see that, but unfortunately, it's heading down that road.
If they take it and go back to the original point system, they should be good. But of course, they have to go back to the original point system.
I don't know if they would ever do that, though, to be honest with you. What they should do is go back to the original, like, cars.
Mm-hmm.
Get. I mean, yeah, the cars now look like the actual cars, but you can still tell it's not the real thing.
Exactly.
And it's just, I don't know.
But the problem with that is the fact that, Jesus fucking Christ. all kinds of trucks go up and down our block here. It's a small little block, so it's just even more like, what the fuck, dude? Come on. But, hey, track.
What's up, fuck,
The whole problem with going back to using the cars that are actually these stock cars is not everything is exactly the same. So therefore, going through tech would take even longer.
They shouldn't have tech anymore. They should, it should be like the way it used to be. Whatever you bring the track, go with it.
Unfortunately, then you get a lot of the cheating at that point. And that's why they set up the whole tech and all of that.
Well, if it makes the races exciting again, fuck it.
But just remember, Bob, it was something like that. The people who would be able to cheat the easiest and get away with the most would be the richest team, and that would be the Hendrick team, and that would mean Jimmy Johnson wins all the time again.
I don't want to see an 8th, 9th, or 10th championship. So, yeah, let's keep it the way it is until Jimmy leaves, and then we can bump it back up. I'm sorry, Ronnie, but I don't want to see an 8th championship.
Honestly, when it comes down, I honestly think this is going to be like his last year anyway, so.
All right. You want to get into predictions for tomorrow's race?
Sure. Where are they at?
I was gonna say, who's on fucking red? Asshole.
My home track, Martinsville.
Oh, short track racing tomorrow. Fun.
Got him. Turn that head. Oh.
All right. Who's on the pole?
Hang on, let me look. I know work tomorrow is going to be pure hell, but
You're going to have a lot of people in there, I'm guessing.
yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I'll leave at 4:30, and the race will still be going on at the time. All right, Logano is on the pole.
Interesting. Let's see here. Baby girl, you're fine. Harvick is in 4th, it looks like, so. I'm gonna go.
Are you done?
No.
That's enough.
I'm gonna go with Kevin Harvick. And Martin Truex is gonna be my dark horse.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go with William Byron. My dark horse. It's going to surprise a lot of people. Paul Menard.
Okay.
You're going to deny him that too.
That's going to be quite interesting.
You're going to deny him that too. Because he let it go.
Clint Boyer won it last year, so he could be another dark horse. But yeah.
Trying to see if there's any more info before we wrap it up here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, by the way, if you haven't tried a Martinsville hot dog, you need to try a Martinsville hot dog.
I have.
Shits are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
I don't see anything, so we can end it here, Miss Heather.
Sure.
So, have a good night, folks. We will see you next week, and race on and stay safe. See ya.